Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Gary with the Get Some podcast. And my guest this week is...
This motherfucker Gary.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Gary Owen with the Get Some podcast. Start off with my schedule, like we always do. I should know it by heart, but this weekend I'm in Columbus, Ohio, at the Funny Bone. I believe 4, as I'm recording this, 4 of the 6 are sold. So we're probably going to add, my guess is a third show Saturday and a second one Sunday. I'm guessing we're definitely going to add at least one. So if you're like, I can't get tickets, we'll probably put the next show on for sale tomorrow morning. And then November 16th, I'm in Detroit, Michigan at the let me give the right venue. Detroit, I'm at the Soundboard Motor City Casino. And then November 17th, I'm in Atlantic City at Harrah's Casino. And November 18th, I'm in Baltimore, Maryland, Hanover, same thing, at Maryland Live Casino. And then Thanksgiving weekend, I am in Naples, Florida, Off the Hook Comedy Club. That's the 24th to the 26th. December 1st, I'm in Kansas City, Missouri at the T-Mobile Mobile Center with DL, Cedric, Eddie Griffin, Felipe Esparza. December 2nd and 3rd, I'm in Atlanta, Georgia at the Atlanta Comedy Theater. So, and after, on December 4th, the Bengals play the Jacksonville Jaguars. Monday Night Football. Me and Lil Duval is going to be down there. I'm going to be Bengaled out. He's going to be Jacksonville Jaguared out. And we're going to go at it all week. So, be ready. Because, man, we won 4 in a row, motherfuckers. So, this week, it's funny. The Bengals are playing the Houston Texans. Cincinnati's got my heart. That's where I've always had a place to live, and Houston is the new home. So it's the new versus the old, but Cincinnati's always going to be home. So it's a nice, and both teams are pretty good. Well, the Bengals are really good. Houston's got a hell of a quarterback and a good defense. So it's going to be a heck of a game. I wish I could make it. Man, I was going to go down there, try to make the game because I'm in Columbus, but I got a feeling we're going to add a matinee show Sunday, so I don't know if I'll be able to make it. But, man, Bengals are so good, man. They're coming. Burrow's looking good, baby. Defense is bend but don't break. It's just a good time, man. Good time. So last weekend I was in San Jose, filmed my special. So here's what happened. So last Wednesday, I was in Sacramento, and I went to prep for my special. And I didn't want to open her, so I did an hour and a half. I did 2 shows in Sacramento, and I did an hour and a half both nights. And I did that. My manager, Lisa, came, and we was getting my timing down and what hour we want to use. So Friday, I filmed my special. Right, so I was at the Improv in San Jose, and anybody knows the Improv in San Jose, it's a little theater, 500 seats. It's a tiny theater. So they got a balcony, up, down. If you've never been, it's one of the best places to see stand up in the country, as far as comedy clubs go. So I get done with my show Friday, and we get the hour special in, and I'm talking to everybody, and I was like, "All right, we got it." Everybody felt good about it. They checked the gate. They checked everything. Like, we're good. We got every angle. The hour was perfect. It was, it was in the pocket. So Saturday morning, I wake up. I call my manager, Lisa. We go have coffee. And I'm sitting there, and I said, "Hey, I think I can do another hour tonight." And she goes, "What do you mean?" I was like, "I can do a different hour. I got so much material right now. And there's some I just want to get rid of some of these jokes, so because that's when my mojo gets working. That's when I get excited about being on the road. Is when I do an hour special and then I'm crafting the new hour. I said, I think I got another hour. So I come in Saturday. We don't really say nothing, just me and my manager. And all of a sudden, I do a different hour. And it flowed, and it was perfect. And it came in right at like 61, 62 minutes. And I was like, there's no way. We did it. And Lisa came up. She goes, oh, my God, we just did 2 hours. So here's the thing, though. I did it myself. I paid for all the camera crew, the equipment, and everything. And I'm filming it, and I'm going to sell it. And it was like, whoa, I just did 2 specials for the price of 1. And I was like, to Lisa, I go, I can't believe we just did that. We just did 1 special Friday and a completely different special Saturday. So anybody that was in San Jose this weekend, if you came to the show Friday to be a part of the special, you will be part of the special called On My Own. But then Saturday, now we're thinking of how do we get creative? Like, do we try to sell both at the same time to all the networks, or do we, like a package deal, or do we just sell one and then we shop the other one later? So I said, no, we got to get creative. So I think what we're going to do, we're going to shop them together and see if, hopefully the same, whether it's Amazon or Showtime or Netflix or Max or Hulu, hopefully whoever buys it, they'll buy both, and then we can get creative on how to air it. But I'm going to call the second one, we're going to call it the next day. Because here's the thing, I'm wearing the same clothes. So I bought the same outfit twice. It was a pair of jeans, it was a denim blue shirt, and I had white sneaks on. So I had down to the socks. Only thing different was the drawers. It was the same socks, different socks, but same socks. Anyways, so I'm like, man, it's gonna really look like the same special. Like if you didn't catch the first one, you might be like, oh, there's a special I was watching. It's all different. So I don't know. I'm sure this has happened before in the history of stand-up, but I'm just talking about recently. I don't know anyone that did 2 different specials on back-to-back nights. And I'm not talking about crowd work. I'm not talking about riffing. I'm talking about thought out, written down, like good material that flowed for an hour. Like it was callbacks. It was everything. And it was just like, I was real confident with Friday night special. It was just Saturday. I was like, I hope this works. That was like walking on a higher wire with no net. Because I was like, as most comedians know, you craft your hour, and then when you get a deal at Netflix or you shoot it yourself, you really focus on that 60 minutes and you're cutting and pasting. And then, so I did that. I've been doing that for the last couple months, really trying to hone in and lock down this hour. And then all of a sudden, I was like, oh, I got another hour. So I remember I was on the Peloton at the hotel gym, and my manager Lisa walked in, and she saw me watching an old clip that she sent me of one of my bits. And I was watching it because I hadn't done it in a while. And I said, but it's never been out there on any of my specials. And I was like, I'm going to watch it. So I watched like 8-9 minutes of my act that we did at a comedy club a while back and filmed that never aired. And we just pieced it together, and voila. Who knew, man? So there's been 2 times in my stand-up career of 20 plus years that after a show, I got a tingling in my hand. I felt like something was going to happen. And it was after I did Mike Epps live from the Nokia in 2010. That was April 2010. We recorded that. That 20 minutes, I'd put that up with any 20 minutes out there. It was just, I knew I had a good 20 that was strong, that was going to hold up. And that live from the Nokia with Mike Epps, if you guys haven't seen it, just look it up on YouTube or go buy it, because the whole special is good. But there was so much going into that special because I was with Mike in Houston, of all places, the week before. And Mike and his manager came up to me after, I think did I host or something? No. I was on the show with Mike, and I remember right before I hit the stage, Mike's manager was like, hey, Gary, do like 20, and then we're going to go to intermission. I said, aight. And then he came back to me a little later. He goes, hey, Gary, we're going to go to intermission, then you go up and do 15. Aight. And then he came back to me and said, hey, okay, we're back. do like 25 and then bring Mike up. I said, all right. And every time I went to him, I just was like, all right. And he kept coming to me. He goes, dang, Gary, you don't give nobody no lip. I said, I mean, they're here to see Mike. I mean, I'm glad people are here to see me. I'm sure I'm an added incentive to the show. But in 2010, I was like, I know who they're here to see. And I'm happy to be on the show. And I was just like, yeah, what do you need me to do? It doesn't matter. Mike's going last. It doesn't matter where I go up, whether I go first or right before Mike, whether I do 30 or I do 20. When you're on a show like that, like whoever goes last, that's who everyone's going to remember, and that's how they're going to go back and tell everybody, was it a good show? Everyone that goes up before him, whether they do really good or do really bad, it's just something they talk about. They paid their money that night to see Epps, and I knew that. So when they asked me, they said, hey, next week, and I think it was because I think the reason they asked me to be on the special on a week's notice was because they were just like, dang, Gary I think it was because I was easy to work with. And it was funny, but I was easy to work with. So I remember when they called me, they said, hey, Mike's doing this special live from the Nokia. Can you come down and film it? And I was supposed to be in Columbia, South Carolina that weekend. Canceled it on a week's notice. They weren't paying much. They weren't flying me in. They weren't putting me up. But I looked at it like this opportunity, man. And I had a strong 20. And I remember when I got to the venue that night in L.A., there was a bunch of comics backstage, and we're all trying to figure out the order. And nobody really wanted to go last, which I understand. But I was like, I'll go last. So I went last, and man, I just had a strong Tiger Woods, just got in trouble. I had the black church joke for the first time I did. Morris Chestnut was in the front. I talked about him. But I remember after that show, after that 20 minutes, and I remember the reaction I got from the crowd, and just I felt it. I got a tingling in my hands, and like the hairs on the back of my neck stood up, and I was like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I heard Ricky Smiley say he felt that way after he did Lil Daryl on Comic View. I don't know. Something felt like the universe was going to shift, and it did. I mean, after that show, the co-black people saw me. They put me on the Shack tour. I went to Japan like a month later, and then not 6 months later, I get a call from Will Packer. They're doing this movie, Think Like a Man. Like, everything just started to freaking happen after that show. I got the same tingling after this weekend. I got that same in the hairs started standing up on the back of my neck and tingling in my hands. And I was just thinking, and it wasn't because of the one. It was after I did the second one. I went, oh, man, we did something here. We did something special. And I don't know what's going to come of it. I don't know who's going to buy it. I don't know where it's going to go. I just feel like as a stand-up, when you work hard and you put stuff out there in the universe and you take your craft serious, I think eventually the universe pays you back. And I just hope this is one of those times, man, because I was like, whoa. And I think I told my manager, I said, I want to call the special from Saturday the next day, and I want to open it with, Friday night, Gary did On My Own. And, this is going to air after On My Own. They go Saturday with no warning, and nobody knew, nobody in the club, none of the staff, none of the camera guys, nobody knew I was going to do a different hours, except for my manager, Lisa. We were the only two. So I went up there. I'm doing something completely different. So I'm excited. I don't know. You guys will know, the podcast listeners, when it sells and where it's going to air and when before everybody. But yeah, just, oh my gosh. So it's just a great week. So, and the thing about it is I've had the same manager since 2005. And, when I got with her, she represented a lot of big name comedians. Some of the Wayans, just Jim Jeffries at one point she represented. And over the course of the years, she's slowly let different people go. I'm sure some people's let her go, but me and her, I mean, she's helped me through my divorce. She's helped me get right financially, just advice, life advice. So I almost wanted as much for her as I do for myself, because she's really stuck by me. And yeah, we're really tight. It's like almost like a Jerry Maguire type relationship now. and I trust her judgment on things. So I almost want as much for her because I had her direct it. So my manager Lisa directed my specials. So it'd be a cool moment for her first time directing a special, and when it sells, if we get some buzz and some heat on it, it'd be awesome for me, obviously, but for her too. It's funny. It's very much like a Jerry Maguire thing. And I saw Sebastian Maniscalco years ago. He brought his manager on stage, and he was thanking her for sticking by him and being there through all the years he was grinding as an up-and-coming comic. And I remember I DM'd him. I said, man, what an awesome moment that must have been for you and her. So hopefully I'll get that moment too. But it was awesome to see. So get done with my special. This is where this story gets funny. I'm leaving San Jose Monday, and I'm flying United. And I walk by a gate, and a Spirit gate was right next to a United gate. And when I walked by, I looked, and it looked like casting 101. It looked like everyone you would think that would fly Spirit is flying this flight. I was like, whoa, that is definitely a Spirit flight. So I'm looking at the people on my United flight. I looked at the people on the Spirit flight, and I go, yeah, this is different. This is different. So I remember I walked by, and then I walked to another part of the terminal to get a latte. And I get my latte, and now I'm walking back towards my gate, and I got to pass that Spirit gate. Now the flight has boarded. There's 3 people. Didn't get on the plane, obviously. They missed the flight. It was 2 dudes and a female. And I just remember they was waiting, and they kept looking because they could see the plane still there. And they also saw the jet bridge still out there. So they're like, what's going on? So then I was like, oh. And I kind of stood there like I had my latte, and I was like, ooh. Let me see what's going to happen. I had to walk away because I knew this was going to go left quick. That dude opened that door to come out after everyone had already boarded the plane, and he immediately, hey, man, we here. We here. He's like, no. He had like an African accent. He goes, no, I cannot open the gate. He was so monotone, like he was not about to raise his voice, or whatever they said was not about to phase him. He's like, no. He goes, no. 20 minutes prior, and the dude was like, hey, dog, it's 11:58. The flight will leave to 12:18. He goes, it's 11:59. I said, let me walk away. It was getting heated. The 3 of them the tension was rising. So now I walked over the United gate. I said, let me get away. But I remember I called my homeboy Nate, and I said, Nate, just listen. It's about to pop off. And all of a sudden, I see this hoodie fly across the hall. And all I heard was, hey, man, fuck that shit, dog. Fuck that shit, dog. And then the other dude's yelling. I don't hear the female yet. And then I hear he's cussing. He's throwing his clothes around. And then he was like, hey, man, how are we supposed to get home now? How are we supposed to get home now? I was like, oh, this is so Spirit. This is so Spirit. And the other, now they yell. The one dude's holding the other dude back like he's about to come at the gate agent. And then the girl was like, no, you ain't got to say shit. You ain't got to say shit. She was telling the gate agent that. And then here came security. And I was like, listen, if you don't fly a lot, they're never opening that door. Ever. So to the people that don't fly a lot, when you do start flying, don't raise your voice. Don't yell. That's a good way to get banned from airlines. And then you're really gonna find out how you're gonna get home. And I was just like, why is this Spirit? Why is this happening on Spirit? Like, I saw it coming. As soon as I walked by that gate, I go, there's no way this is going down smooth. I can't explain all the different characters I saw in that line. Just whatever you think of Spirit, that's who was in that line. Okay? It was, and then when he threw that hoodie, man, fuck that shit, dog. Fuck that shit. And then funny, it just hit him. How am I getting home now? I was like, well, you're not getting home on a plane. And then when security got to escort you out, I'm like, listen, I've been there. I know sometimes you get rude gate agents. I know, and it sucks. It sucks. And sometimes you got to admit it's your own fault. And I don't know what happened here, but my guess is they were late. My guess is these three people showed up thinking they had till 12:18. No, 12:18 is when the flight leaves. 20 minutes prior, when that door closes, it's not opening up. In the history of flying, it does not open up. I don't care who you are. And the guy even said it. I heard him. He was like, for me to open that door, it's going to cost he either said $50,000 or $500,000. I don't know which one he said. It was something 50 because, like I said, I went to my United gate, the safe gate. And they're never going to open it. And now, especially when you're yelling and security escort you out, I remember, I imagine the people on that flight were probably like, whoo, I'm glad those three weren't on my flight. I'm just saying. So just remember, if you don't fly a lot, I've been late for flights. One time I was flying and my road manager Brad's flight got delayed, and I'm at the gate, and they're trying to hold that door open, and they're looking at me like, Gary, we got to close it. We got to close it. We're 20 minutes out. I said, I know, and I'm texting Brad, where you at? He goes, I'm running. And I just boarded it, and he didn't get on. But I was so cool with the gate agents, and I got cool. I'm telling Brad, be cool when you get here. All right, they're very cool people. Just be cool. So then Brad got to the gate. They just booked him on the next flight. He got in like an hour and a half, 2 hours later. But yeah, it's just, I'm sure if he would have got there and been yelling and screaming and upset, they weren't going to be as open to help him. So if I give you any advice, I know it sucks. I know it does. But I've been to gates before, and I've showed up and go, God, I really want to blame you, but I was late. Doesn't happen a lot. But once they close that door, they're not opening it. I know somebody's going to walk out, and that gives you a little hope. Like, oh, you could just open it. I'm right here. The plane's right there. They're not. They're not doing it. It's some FAA regulation, and they're not doing it. So I couldn't believe it was Spirit, and it ended up with a guy screaming, throwing his hoodie, the girl yelling at the dude. I was like, I saw it, though. When I saw the three people, the way they was looking at that plane and the jet bridge, it's like and then when I saw that dude open that door, I was like, I saw the hope. And then when they started snapping, doop, 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 let me walk away. Let me walk away from this shit, but let me make sure I'm on the phone. And I don't want to whip out my phone recording it because I didn't want the anger directed towards me. What you typing, homie? I didn't want that. So I was like, I'm good on that. So, yeah. Anyways, enough on that. That was a good way to end the weekend, though. It was exciting. It was exciting to see. So I made a post last week about, and I said, man, sometimes you're always trying to describe yourself. I always wonder, like, what am I? Am I an extrovert? Am I an introvert? I like hanging out, but I don't like hanging out. It's rare you see a post. You see these posts on social media where they'll give all these different, are you this person? Are you this person? Or life advice. It's rare you see a post where you agree with everything on it. So it says, this post said, how do you know? And I posted about 3 days ago. 8 signs you're probably an extroverted introvert. And I was like, okay, let me see what they're talking about. 1, certain people drain you while others energize you. I swear to God, that is so true. There's some people like, and it's always like this. People say, what's your favorite place to go? Where's your favorite place to go? It doesn't matter where you go. If you're with the right group of people, you can be in Des Moines. You could be in Milwaukee. You could be in a cornfield, Nebraska. If you're with the right friend or friends, you're having a good time. And then there's other people, as soon as they walk in the room, it's like somebody takes a needle and drains all the energy out of your arm. And sometimes it's your own family members. You're just like, God, there's some people that just can't tell a story. They're always long-winded. It's never an ending. And you're just like, oh, my God. So I get that 100%. 2, you find people both intriguing and exhausting. I get that. That kind of goes with 1. I think this is more with strangers, though. Number 3, you love being alone but appreciate good company. Man. And especially the older I get, I think as a stand-up, when you first start doing stand-up, you just like to go out. People are socially, you're getting tapped in, you're getting into places. And it's very intoxicating. But the older I get, the more I love being alone in my hotel rooms. But at the same time, I also like going to cities and meeting up with old friends. So it's like, I like hanging out with you, but I want to get back to my room for a couple hours of downtime. And now especially, I think there was a time like as soon as you get off stage, you're trying to find the club or the party. Where's that at? Now, at where I'm at in my life, I so look forward to getting off stage and going back to my hotel room and just getting a shower and chilling. That's it. Get on my laptop, watch a movie, watch highlights of today's sports. I'm like, oh, and I just love being with myself. There's sometimes I'll be like, man, I was in a great city with great weather, great food, and I never left my room all weekend except I'll Uber Eats and except to go to the show. That's it. Your energy levels are closely tied to your environment. Duh. I'm like, that's so true too. There's some people like you'll be. It could be you could be home, you could be in a comedy club, you could be just out, and sometimes you go out and you get a second wind because of people you're with, or you walk into a cool lounge, a cool speakeasy, a cigar bar, and all of a sudden you get a second wind. You're like, oh, okay, I'm glad I came out. And there's other times you're like, God, I'm ready to go immediately. Immediately. You would rather say what's on your mind than make small talk. Yep. I mean, that's self-explanatory. This is a good one. You enjoy socializing, but always have an escape plan. Amen. Hey, let the church say amen on that one. Oh, I love going out, but sometimes I'd be like, I'm ready to dip. Like, I heard Nate Bergatz. He was like, I hope I said that name right. He was talking about how people act in your 20s and 30s. In the 30s that you go out, but I'm going to drive separate. And I'm like, I'm so with that. 7, you are selective with your people and your social calendar. Whew, ain't that true? The one thing I've learned, the older I've gotten, is to say no. I used to say yes and then come up with all these excuses why I couldn't do something. I'll just be like, nah, man, I get back to you, or I'm good. I don't like to spread myself out too thin, man. I used to always say yes to almost everything. Now I'm like, nah, I'm not gonna commit to anything. And I'm honest with people. I go, dude, I got shows. I don't know how I'm gonna feel after the show or before the show. So, and 8, people often mistake you for an extrovert. I'm like, yep. I think most people think as comedians we're always on. I think it's just the opposite. We're off more than we're on. You're always just like, oh. Because, I'm sure somebody would be around me and be like, God, you're kind of quiet. But I always say there's nothing worse than being in a room with some comedians and everybody's trying to get jokes off or trying to be the funny guy in the room at the same time. I mean, I don't think there's anything worse than that. But, yeah. So, when I read that, I was like, God, that is me to a T on every one of those. And then I saw Tony Baker did a post on it. The comments, people were like, yep, we're not the only one. I'm not the only one like that. So, yeah. So I read that Yvonne Orji is a virgin, and I know. Okay, just so I can give all her credits out, so I don't put her in the wrong movie or TV show. Just so you guys know who she is. Because she's a popular actress, comedian. I mean, obviously everybody knows her from Insecure. But she's also a stand-up. She was in Night School, Vacation Friends with Lil Rel. But she put out there she's 39 years old and she's a virgin. I think it's ironic that her last name is Orji. I'll just let that sit. Her last name is Orji, and she's a virgin at 39. I'm like, whoa. That's almost unreal. That's like a unicorn. That's like a dinosaur. It's a good thing. I think if I was her father, I'd be like, yes, that's every man's dream right there, to have your daughter be a virgin her whole life. I always said if you failed as a father when your daughter gets pregnant. I don't care if my daughter's 35 and been married for 10 years. I'd be like, dang, because that means somebody had sex with her, and it's been confirmed. Up until that point, you can deny it all you want as a dad. But the minute, Jesus Christ, the minute your daughter gets pregnant, you're like, somebody slept with her. So if I'm Yvonne Orji's dad, I'm like, oh my God, I thought she'd probably have sex sooner since her last name is Orji. But I just think that's funny. Of all the last names, Orji. I don't know. It's weird. Like, I wonder what that first time is going to be like. It's going to be crazy. I mean, because she's done a lot of love scenes and Insecure. So that's what makes it all. That just means she's that better of an actress in my eyes. She's done all those love scenes and she's a virgin. Like, it's not natural to her. So, that's still amazing. That's unreal to me, honestly. Jeez, that's a lot. That's a lot just to take in. One thing I do, I like to keep most of the time, I keep my personal life personal. I've learned that through the divorce, try to keep it personal. But as a lot of people know, I haven't seen my kids in almost 3 years or spoken to them since the divorce, and I understand they're just, I guess, healing in their own time. And I try to reach out and I try to see them, but it just hasn't worked out yet. I'm gonna go to my daughter's graduation next month at North Carolina A&T. So I'm just gonna go by myself. Not gonna try to how can I put it? Not gonna try to make it awkward for her because it is her day. So I'll probably just fall back, and then not gonna. I don't want that to be the time for us to reconcile. Hopefully. But when I was in San Jose, I found out where my son worked. And so I stopped by his work just to see him. Not that he would see me. I wanted to see him. So he's teaching kids how to swim. And so I go to his job, and I went there Thursday hoping he would be there, but he wasn't. But I found out he was coming in the next day. And it was interesting because when I came in Friday to go to his job, my whole goal was just to see him and to hear him, because I haven't been in his presence in like 3 years. So when I got there, like, one of the other swim instructors came up and they was like, "Hey, are you Austin's dad?" And I was like, "Yeah." And I thought it was kind of odd because I was like, I figured he would have, I don't know. I figured, I guess people know we haven't talked, especially if you're in his social circle. And he goes, "You want me to get him?" And I was like, no. And then, because I didn't want to invade on his space, basically. And then he said, "Oh, he's right there." He said he's back in the locker room. He goes, "Oh, he's right there at the pool. He's already in there teaching kids how to swim." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So I went and I watched him. And the thing is, he's not on social media, so I haven't seen a picture of him or videos of him or just to see how he's changed in 3 years. So it was the first time I'd seen him, and I just felt all the way. I blended in with the other parents watching their kids swim, and as I'm watching them, oh my God, this delivery guy walked in, and he was like, "Yo, are you Gary Owen?" And I was like, "Yeah," and he could tell I was being polite, but hey, not now. was probably the vibe I was getting off. He goes, "Oh, is your kid out there?" And I said, yeah. I'm sure he thought little kid was out there, not one of the instructors. So I said, yeah. He goes, "All right, man, I'll leave you alone, man. Nice meeting you." I said, "All right." And then, but I just got to sit back and I got to watch him. And I took some pictures for my own use just because I hadn't seen him in forever. And it was just cool to see him in that environment, being patient, being kind, being just, he was just in his element with the kids. I saw how they were excited when they saw him. Because he was always I wasn't sure how he was doing. I know he took the divorce hard, but I wasn't sure. Like, I can track my daughter by going to her college's website, and she's always on like magna cum laude list. She's very smart, so I can kind of from afar see how she's doing. But my son, I just really couldn't. I didn't know. I just haven't seen anything. I haven't seen a video or picture or nothing in almost 3 years. So it was funny because not funny, but I parked across the street and I just sat, and then I saw him walk in, and it was all just luck. I was there for like an hour, and I saw him walk into his job, and I went, "Oh man, that's him!" And I knew immediately when I saw him, and then I was able to blend in with all the other parents, and then, it was just, I got to hear his voice, I got to see him in his element, and I got to see that he was all right. So that was important to me. So I don't know if he ever saw me. I don't know if, I just don't know. There was a couple times I thought we were going to make eye contact, but it didn't happen. But I was kind of like standing behind a column because he was at work. So I didn't want to be that dad just showing up unannounced. But it's also like, when am I going to see him? So I just blended in, and I remember I was almost paralyzed. Like, I couldn't leave. I was there for like a couple hours just watching him help these kids learn how to swim. But it was just cool just to see him, just being. I think that's what you want as a parent. Just your kids to be productive members of society, not getting in trouble, liked by people. And he was just, it was cool to see. So hopefully we'll get to talk soon. But yeah, it was just cool. I was debating whether to do it, and even the only few people that knew I went, my manager was like, "You sure you want to do this the day you're special?" And I said, "Yeah." And she goes, "All right." She goes, "I just don't want you to get emotionally, in a different place and da-da-da." And I was like, no. I said, "This is what we do. As comedians, we always compartmentalize. We always are dealing with stuff, and then you get on stage and you just got to be funny." And she goes, "Oh, I don't know." And my manager even says, "She goes, I don't know why you even brought that up." She goes, "Of course. That's what you guys do." So, but it was, he was on my mind though after I saw him, because I was like, man, I wanted to go back Saturday and Sunday, but I didn't know if he was going to be working, and if I could sit outside and luck of the draw, he would show up again. But it was cool. It was cool just to see him, just to be in his presence, just to almost feel him a little bit, to be in his energy, feel his energy. So it was cool. It'd been a while, but man, he had a big old mustache, big old goatee now, and hair was kind of long. But he's a tall dude because he's in the pool. He's leaned down, but then would stand up. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot how tall he is. But yeah, I hope we talk soon. But it was cool just to see him, even from afar, I should say. But yeah, it was cool. So anyways, thanks everybody that came out in San Jose this weekend. That was awesome. We got 2 specials. The first one's going to be called On My Own. The second one's going to be called The Next Day. And I will be in the same outfit. And this weekend, I'm in Columbus, Ohio. Like I said, we're definitely going to add shows. 4 of the 6 are sold out. We're definitely going to add 1, probably 2 before the weekend's out. Then I got the casino run. And then I got Naples, Florida, Captain Brian, Off the Hook. And let me see, where else am I? I stopped it early. So Atlanta, December 2nd and 3rd. Kansas City, December 1st at the T-Mobile Center. December 2nd, Atlanta Comedy Theater. West Nyack, New York. Let me just finish out the year. West Nyack, New York, December 8th through the 10th at Levity Live. And then Denver, Colorado, December 21 through the 23rd at the Improv. And then December 29th, I'm in San Antonio at the Tobin Center. December 30th and 31st, Dallas, Texas, Texas Trust Theater, like I'm there always. And then we get into 2024, December 4th through the 7th, Ontario Improv in Ontario, California. And I think that's far enough for now. But I always tell people, if you want to know my schedule, go to the website, GaryOwen.live, and we update it every week. So this week, Bengals play the Texans. Come on, fellas. 6-3, baby. Let's get it. All right, y'all. I'll see you next week. This is Gary Owen with the Get Some Podcast.